Shine, and it's for all families, young and young at heart. It's an ocean critter themed gathering full of sun, sand, and summer celebration, and that's going to start at 12:30 right after the service.
You won't want to miss getting a chance to be glittered up by Lori Vila, our new youth ed director, so come join the fun. And now would our ambassadors and our prayer chaplains please stand? Our ambassadors are those who wear the rainbow ribbons. They are here to offer a warm welcome, answer your questions, and to also direct you and point you to the right place to be connected with all these activities and programs here at SLC. And then our chaplains are here to hold us in all of our confidential prayers during our human journey, whether it's time of joy or those of challenge. So please look for them. They are the ones wearing the white stoles, and they will be in the sanctuary after service and out in the courtyard for service for you as well.
And if you're here for the very first time, in just a few moments, we're going to ask you to raise your hand and give you an opportunity to learn about how you can get connected with Spiritual Life Center and fill out the welcome card that you can hand in at the end of the service or in the courtyard. And we'll have some very nice gifts for you as well.
And we'll also give you a shell lay. And on that shell lay, there's a little tag that says, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And we know that there are many paths to the one God. So if you're new here for the first time, would you raise your hand and keep it raised? There's a few
First
here.
timers, just keep your hand held high, and we'd love to give you our special gift to you. And we appreciate your presence and gracing us with your consciousness and just being part of the Spiritual Life Center to community and family this morning. So we thank you so much for your presence with us.
Great. Now it's time. Let's greet our
Let's greet each
newcomer.
other and the newcomers and say, you look marvelous. It's so glad to have you here today.
Please stay standing. We invite you to sing our group song. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me, everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Give it a try. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me. Through the mind of God within me. Take it up. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me. Everything that I need to do about what lies before me is available to me. Is available to me through the mind of God within me. Take it up again. Everything that I need to release about what lies before me, everything that I need to release about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything that I need to accept about what lies before me, everything that I need to accept about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me Keep it right there. Everything that I need to know about what lies before me. Everything that I need to know about what lies is available to me. It is available. Three times. Through the mind of God within. Through the mind of God. Through the mind of God. Through the mind. Through the mind of God within me. Brilliant. Please be seated.
Now I invite you to embody these words as we read together our vision statement. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions, weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom. We cultivate spiritual deepening with the divine each other.
And now, in preparation for meditation, I invite you to take a nice deep breath and settle into your chair. Let freedom ring in my soul. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring in my soul. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring in my soul. Let freedom ring. I am free to be a voice. I am free to make a choice. I am free here to be just who I am. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring in my soul. In my soul, let freedom ring. 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 Let freedom ring in my soul. Let freedom ring. I am free. I am free to be a choice. I am free. I am free to make a choice. I am free. I am free here to be just who I am. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring in my soul. Let freedom ring.
As we settle into meditation, I invite you to let the scratchiness of my voice fade into the background and let freedom ring in your soul. And as we breathe and go within, we relax and open, connecting to the essence of our true self. There is a voice within that guides our way. Maybe we call it our spirit. Maybe we call it us. from this place of awareness, notice who is noticing. It's you. The seat of our soul is our message delivery system, our thoughts. This part of me that is always present and always has been. You were never alone. You were always there with you. You and the divine are one. Breathe into that. From the moment of my birth, I have never been alone. Divine light lives as me. Our experiences have shaped us, planted seeds from long ago, when we may not have even known who we were. As we formed our core, we accepted opinions of others. We carried these with us, forgetting to question whether they were even true. Our mind is a busy place. Notice some of the messages you tell yourself. Are they kind and supportive? Maybe sometimes. Are they judgmental and condescending? Hopefully not, but maybe so. Do we talk to ourselves with hope and optimism? Or do our fears rule the day? Do we leave room for compassion, allowing ourselves to make mistakes and fall below that line of perfection, opening the door to forgiveness? Our subconscious is our compass, and we're mostly unaware of it. Old beliefs return unbidden, yet we can reshape these messages just by noticing. So I invite you now, as we take some time in the silence, notice your messages and find one that you are willing to let go of. As we notice and release, gently let it flow away with a blessing of gratitude. we return to this place, breathing into the present, grateful for our time together. And so it is. Amen. And happy birthday, dear Ralph.
I used to think this world was just as it seems. I went crazy when I tried to change it. But after many years and months, I finally come to realize I can simply change my mind to rearrange it. And what I believe, what I believe is true for me. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true may not be true for you. I've learned what seems to be is not reality. 'Cause whatever we desire, we will see it. But we can get past this reflection to the mirror of the heart, where our vision of this world is blessed by spirit. So what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true for me. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true may not be true for you. Illusion wears me down after a while. Delusion would let me drown in denial. So if everything we see is only a dream, I must wake myself from this hallucination. 'Cause when we come awake, we understand only love remains. And we bring this love to every situation. So what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is there is only love for me. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true. There's only love for you. And what I believe, what I believe, what I believe is true is there's only love for me and you. Love for me and you.
What I believe. I shared in the earlier service as I was hearing Ann sing that song. It reminded me of a time I woke up in the middle of the night and had a dream, because I was trying to figure out how you can describe these teachings in a few words. And I came up with these 8 words. It is done unto you as you believe. I said, that sums it up. We're finished. Let's take an offering. Let's go home. We're done. You know, I was thinking about the talk for today and preparing for the class this week, and this scriptural reference came to me. And it's from Romans 7th chapter, 15th verse, and it says, I don't understand what I am doing. I say that to myself quite a bit. But it goes on to say, for I don't practice what I want to do, but instead I do what I should not do. You know, I had a friend of mine that came to me and he was saying that he kept doing things over and over again that was not to his benefit. You know, they were not helping him at all. They were always to his detriment, but he kept on doing them. And he asked me, well, James, why do I keep doing what I do? And I did my famous Scooby-Doo translation. I don't know. I have no idea why you do the things that you do. But I understand how that happens. You know, I said I was going to start eating healthier now, and you know, sometimes at night I get up and go to the refrigerator. I said, there's an apple in there. I open the refrigerator. There's a nice big pile of apples in there for me to eat. But something was calling me to open up the freezer. Because on that side was like the Haagen-Dazs ice cream. And I kept asking me, why do I do what I should not do? And of course I went there for the ice cream. Maybe there was some subliminal message that said to me when I was very young that, hey, apple's okay, but ice cream is a whole lot better for you. Why do I do the things that I do? You know, the author of the book that we're going to be going over in the class quotes an artist by the name of Jenny Holzer. And Jenny writes that you are the victim of the rules that you live by. And I think here's the challenge. We're not always conscious of what those rules are. Because the reality is we're ruled by, more often than not, by our subconscious mind. Not what we consciously know or say we believe in, but what is running us below the surface. And oftentimes we accept these rules and they're running our life. Which is the reason why sometimes, you know, we may sabotage ourselves just before getting to that point of absolute success. Or we may do something really stupid to ruin a perfectly good relationship. Or we may, you know, allow another person, a boss, a spouse, a friend, maybe to continuously abuse us in some way, shape, or form when we know better. And it happens because we're not necessarily consciously aware of the rules that are running us and we're allowing to really take over our life. But of course, it's not our fault. And if we have these kinds of experiences, more often than not, we've received messages from parents, institutions, or well-meaning people around us. Messages that say, well, you know, success maybe is really just for other people. You know, our family has always had bad relationships. You're in the family, ergo, you're going to have bad relationships. You know, you're not just good enough. The world is a very dangerous place. Being a musician or an artist, that's not a real career. Do something practical. And we may accept these messages and let it run our life. And after a certain point, we're not even conscious that they're there. Because unconsciously, on an unconscious level, we allow these statements to take hold of us. But here's the thing. It may not be our fault how we've gotten to a certain place or certain messages that we've allowed to infiltrate our minds. But we are responsible if we decide to stay there. But of course, in order to accept that responsibility of these beliefs that we've accepted, we have to become aware of them. Because without awareness, there is no choice, but rather just a reaction or continuing to do what we've always done. And we might ask ourselves this question, as I ask sometimes, what the heck is the problem with me? Well, we're going to, in the class, look at different tools and techniques to, reshape those subconscious beliefs and what we can do, whether it be affirmations or how we change our self-concept and many other tools we'll talk about. And today we're just going to look at some overarching ideas on how we can transform or change our life in areas that we may not like the way they're unfolding. And as I said, we have to first be aware. And once we become aware, we have to be able to release those thoughts that no longer serve us, so that we no longer doubt our greatness or live our life by limiting the awesomeness that's waiting to be expressed, because the Spirit is saying, I gave you something magnificent, bring it out. It's telling us in a feeling, if not in words, no matter what you've done or not done up until this moment, there is always more in you to do more, to be more, and express more of who and what you are here to be. And so we hear these statements or these words that says, don't be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that of the will of God, which is good and acceptable and perfect, can be expressed through you. We're here to transform ourselves, which means that we're going beyond our previous life. But we have to forget our history that we've attached ourselves to, and dream a new dream, dream a new vision, dream new possibilities for our life, and for everyone that has this within them, it can be expressed. I was rewatching the animated version of The Lion King, and as I looked it over, I said, man, there's a lot of messages in there, a lot of spiritual messages in there. And if those who may have seen it, remember the time that I think Simba, which was the son of the lion, Mustafa, I believe his name was. Was it Mufafa? Anyway, Mustafa? Mustafa. I knew it was something. See, I have to ask that question every time I have. We have an interactive audience. You just ask the question, and the right answers start coming back. And anyway, Simba had a meditative monkey that was his guru figure. And Simba said to the meditative monkey, my father, you used to know my father. And the meditative monkey said, well, I know, wrong. I know your father. I know your father. And he said, really? He said, let me take you to see him. And so he led Simba to a lake, and he started looking in the lake. And Simba just saw the reflection of himself in the lake. And he said, all I see is myself. And he said, well, look closely. Because what you will see is the realization that the vision of your Father is also within you. It is within you. I think it's reminding us we're here to accept the vision that's always within us, if we choose to do so, rather than react to the circumstances and the situations that we may face from time to time. And I think it begins each and every day. We tell ourselves that we have that choice. We say, once upon a choice. I'm at choice point every single moment of my day. Not once upon a time, which puts limits on our possibility based upon the past. Because oftentimes we're living from our history rather than from our vision. A vision that Spirit has always given us, and that helps us rise above those limited beliefs that we've accepted. I remember a woman who had a debilitating disease. And it was something that she accepted that she was destined to have, all of her life. Her parents had it, or family members had it. So health seemed to be out of the question, but she suddenly had gotten an idea that maybe health and wholeness was her divine birthright. So began to visualize and change her lifestyle and began to affirm and do different things over time, and eventually she did rise above what she had accepted to be true for her. We have to remember who we really are. We have to forget and release what we think we have become based upon what someone else has told us. And we have to be that fully and completely. I shared there was a young lady who had become a model for the Gap, the clothing line, and I said to her, hey, I see that you model for the Gap. She was indignant. She said, no, I am the Gap. I am it. She was expressing it fully and completely, that she wasn't just modeling it. She was being it totally in her life. She had a whole different vision for who she was. You know, we have a lot of division in our world today, in our country today, and I think the message of oneness is so needed today like never before. You know, we need a vision to pull people together so that we can see what's possible rather than just react upon the past. And I think when we begin to have that vision for ourselves and for our world, we pull ourselves to a whole different level. Now, it's not always easy, you know, to move from where we are to where we want to be. You know, there was a young man who had gotten a great deal of help from, a monk, and had changed his life, and he wanted to do something special for him. And so he decided to do a sculpture on his behalf. And so he got a huge rock, a huge stone, but it was really too big, so he split the stone in half, and he started stepping on one half in order to sculpt the other half of the stone, and he worked on it for a little bit, and then the stone he was working on, said, "Oh, leave me alone. Don't touch me." And he, being a nature lover, decided that he'd work on the other half of the stone, and he created a magnificent piece of art. And after a while, he had finished it, and they decided that they would have a special celebration. They would christen it, and people from miles around came to honor, not only the monk, but also the sculptor that was done. And all day long, they were, giving it incense and oils, and it was like making it a big deal. And at the end of the day, the sculptor, the piece of stone that had been stepped on, was saying to the sculpted piece of stone, "What gives? All day long, this guy's been stepping on my back and giving you the good stuff." And the sculpted piece of stone said, "You would not let the other sculptor work on you. You would not let the sculptor change you. You would not let the sculptor transform you. So you have merely become a stepping stone, while I have become something magnificent for the beauty of the world to see." See, our life will become a stepping stone unless we're willing to be transformed, which means that we must be willing to be different. I think we're here to live our life every single day to have that transformation. We're not here to be the same persons that we've been in the past. So many people, they want to change the world while they remain the same, but that's impossible. So many people want to change their relationships while they remain the same. That's impossible. Some people want to save the society while they remain the same. Impossible. We must be willing to be transformed by the renewing of our mind, realizing the thoughts that we hold and the beliefs that we have are a preview to our life experiences. And so we want our life experience to reflect the idea that we're going out every single day seeking to live to the highest and best that we're here to be. Oftentimes a lot of the challenges that we have come up in our life because we're living in a world too small. And the universe is saying, broaden your world, and you'll rise above the seeming challenges that you have. I think one of the things that we want to be able to do is get up every day and say something to the effect, I want to do something different. I'm no longer going to try to cope with my life. I'm not going to try to cope with that person. I'm not going to try to cope with the way things have been going on. Because if we're approaching life from that perspective, we're simply using all these tools to protect us rather than allowing the flow of life to come through us. Sometimes when we go through life and we have these challenges, we think that, these changes that we're facing, they're against me. But when we realize that we're here to grow, develop, unfold, we know that there's nothing out there against us. It's always there for us, for our greater good. Sometimes the human ego thinks that, things that come along in our life that, that to change us are negative, they're bad, they're evil. But if we realize that we're here to grow, develop, and unfold, we realize that all of these things are nothing more than agents of change, agents of growth, agents of transformation, and then we'll begin to open up and allow it to take place. I think what's happening and sometimes in our world is an opportunity for us to grow, develop, and unfold. Sometimes I look at the news and sometimes I just want to put the covers back over my head. I can't believe what's going on, but I'm not going to say anything about it right now. But then I realize that all of these things are an opportunity for us to grow. I think one way to lay the foundation for this growth is to give our assignment to ourselves every day on a daily basis. And that assignment has something to do with our oneness with the Spirit and the qualities of God. You know, we may wake up today and say, today, my assignment is unconditional love. My assignment is peace. My assignment is generosity. My assignment is compassion to every single person that crossed my path. And we give ourselves that assignment. And then the very first person that crossed our path is the one individual that you know is the exception to this rule. Everybody, yes, but this individual. But we realize that when that happens, it's a good thing. Because if we stick to our assignment, it'll give the ego something to do until the Spirit of God can do its work through us. You know, sometimes we may be shaken up by the things that happen to us when we go through this transformation. You may ask, what have I got myself into now? You know, before I started doing this stuff, I was kind of all right. I wasn't totally happy, but I wasn't sad either. We don't want that. We want much more than that. We want our life to be awesome, every aspect of our life to be awesome because we deserve it. We want to stick to our assignment, knowing that if we stick to our assignment, something will transform within us. I think for us to do that, we have to always stay connected to this presence. You know, Jensen Ciro in that book reminds us that that's the starting point. Stay connected through our prayer work, through our spiritual work, through our spiritual practice, through our service. Stay connected to that presence we call God. You know, I realize that sometimes some people have an allergy to the term God. I mean, I used to. But she reminds us that it's really just another name for source energy, loving energy. And we're always connected to it. Most of the time, we're only using a fraction of it. Someone told me they were having a problem with that word, and I said, well, you can call it whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it Atman, more power to you. You want to call it the Christ presence, more power to you. You want to call it Allah, it's okay with God. You want to call it God, it's okay with Allah. It don't matter. The whole idea is to call it forth as the activity of our awareness so that we can go beyond the previous formation of our life by getting guided by this presence, releasing the beliefs that no longer serve us. You know, sometimes the transformation begins when we have a spiritual experience. I remember I was going through my own dark night of the soul, and I had gone through a lot of, personal development work, spiritual development work, and I had this experience that I really couldn't put in words, but the best I could describe it, I was suddenly walking down the street and seemingly in this state of surrender, everything around me collapsed into a sea of oneness. There was no separation between me and other people, me and the presence, between me and the trees around me. I could kind of see the vibration. It just lasted for a nanosecond, but it changed my whole perception. And I was very excited about this. I went to a few people I was hanging out with, and I said, hey, man, I just met God. I saw God. Everybody looked at me and say, okay, well, that's interesting. We got to go now. And later on, I asked someone, well, what did they think of me when I was saying that? He said, well, we felt you were sincere, but we thought that you were just a little crazy. Well, you know what? Let people think you're crazy. Sometimes we want to be a fool for the presence and the power and the love of God. There was a story of a man who was wearing a sandwich board, and he was walking up and down the sidewalk. And on the front of the sandwich board, there were the words that says, I am a fool. I am a fool. I am a fool. And people were looking at him like, yeah, he was a fool, all right. And then they looked on the back of the thing, or the sandwich board, and it says, I am a fool for God. Whose fool are you? He was saying, I'm a fool, but I'm a fool for God. So I say, hey, be crazy. Be a fool for God. Step into that unlimited energy that we call love, that unlimited energy that we call the force, that unlimited energy that we call the presence of God, to begin to create a whole new future for ourselves, no matter where we are in our life. There's something new waiting to express itself through and as us. And as we do that, we break free from the limited thinking that we've accepted and the agreements that have led us up until this point, so that we are connected consciously to this presence, this power, this love. Because it's in this loving presence that we live and we move and we have our very beingness in. We make that the activity of our awareness. Our life is changed. It's transformed. It is better. God needs us to express it. And so it is. Amen. I believe. So we have an opportunity now to get in that flow of divine giving as the music team is on its way back. So take your tithe, your love offering, your gift. Symbolically raise it to the heavens of ever-expanding good, knowing that whatever you give out will come back to you in ways you never imagined or thought about. It'll support this community in helping folks realize their true nature and being, from the youth to those who are young at heart. It'll help support those organizations that are making difference in our community so we can anchor a little bit more of heaven on earth. So with that awareness, let's say our offertory blessing. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
Change the world we see till change begins in you and me. We change the world around us when the change begins within. So let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin within. We cannot change the world we see till change begins in you and me. We change the world around us when the change begins within. So let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin within. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin within. A lesson from the willow tree is strength and flexibility. When nothing seems to go my way, it's time to learn to sway. So let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin within. Patiently, courageously, Let the change begin within. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Oh, let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin within. Let the change begin. 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 Let the change begin within. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change. 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 Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin. Let the change begin within.
Let the change begin within. And we're grateful for the opportunity that we can be changed by the renewing of our minds and hearts. And so we bless the tithes and offerings, knowing they're going to give us an opportunity to help change more hearts and minds in our world, so we can be the highest and best we're meant to be as expressions of the presence of God. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And with that, just a reminder that, the potluck at 12:30, and next week, we're going to talk about embracing our inner greatness. Take it to the next step. With that, sing our peace song.